Can you give a couple examples of what you think DOJ should be doing right now?
Well, first off, I think DOJ, we got attorneys. I think we got to go back to the beginning. You have to go back to the election. You have to go back to January 6th. Look at Nancy Pelosi. There's a young reporter, Allison Steinberg, over at Lindell TV. She asked Nancy Pelosi a question today about January 6th and about the National Guard, and Nancy Pelosi turned around, screamed at her from a few feet away, "Shut up. How can you ask that?" They're so sensitive about January 6th, so you got to go back to the stolen election of 2020. You've got to go back to January 6th. You have to take the whole continuum. You have to go back to the whole thing on Crossfire Hurricane. You have to adjudicate everything they did, and we have to do it in public, even throwing the pandemic in there, and the response, the summer of love, all of it. If to keep this republic and keep it as a constitutional republic, we have to be fair about this. We have to be transparent about it. We have to adjudicate it by the rule of law, but it has to be done. And you see we're making some progress. You got Comey with a couple of charges on appetizer, John Bolton, maybe with a couple, Letitia James, but it's not good enough and it's not fast enough. And the only way we're going to solve this is U.S. attorneys. I think we're 25 or 30 short is what I'm hearing. There's just some sort of backlog. And you can't depend on a Halligan coming out of nowhere and being able to drop a couple right away. We have to take apart the deep state, and we have to do it now in every aspect that's happened over the last couple of years. At Charlie's, I know you were at the Student Action Summit down in Tampa. And normally, you know me, I'm running out there, we're at war, and I'm dropping the mic and running around like a madman. I told Charlie before, and I said, this is going to be very different. I said, I'm going to go out with what I call the Tampa Resolves. And it is, we have to prioritize everything else we're working on. It has to be to go after the deep state. That combination of national security, intelligence, law enforcement, the Pentagon, its interconnections with Wall Street and big tech, that we have to do that. If we don't go after that and do it now with a sense of urgency, we're never going to have another shot. This is the time we have to do it. We have to make it a priority. And I said, you're going to find out something. That's the third resolve I said was, no, do it now, do it with urgency. And the third was, who's ever not with us is against us. This is the best way we can unmask everybody, because this is not going to be pleasant. It's not going to be easy. You and I are called, you're called more names than I am, but we were both, by the Tel Aviv Levin crowd, we're called everything, right? They're going to do more of that because the deep state is also connected with certain of our allies. You have to go do this, and you have to do it. It's not going to be pleasant. You're going to get thrown out of your country club maybe, but if you're going to save the republic, we have to do this now. And a part of that, you're going to see if you do that, the escalating political violence of the more and more radical left, and quite frankly, more and more of the central apparatus of the Democratic Party is going to be gutted. And that's why I think, President Trump, I know wants to focus. Todd Blanche talked about it today in the Oval Office. It has to happen. And it's only going to happen, I think, if people like you and myself and some others keep saying, hey, guys, I understand you got 1,000 things you're working on, but we have to start to rank order priorities. And this has to be the priority right now for President Trump.